the show. That was our soul starter for today, and it had to be something that was vaguely allotment related. And I say vaguely, it was perfect. It was green onions by Booker T and the MGs.
I was going to see if anybody knew the link actually there, because if anyone can tell us what this one is, you get 10 points, 166 177, or you can email studio@manxradio.com. And the reason we are plant and flower related themed this afternoon is because we are somewhere very, very special.
We are at the Laxey and Lonan Allotment Association. Have I got that the right way around, Tanya Anderson?
You do, and welcome.
Do you know what? We've been so looking forward to being here. And as I said at the start of the show, it doesn't matter that it's a little bit drizzly because it's still magnificent up here. What a beautiful place to be planting and growing things.
I honestly think it's the prettiest allotment site in Britain. It really is. It's south-facing. It faces out over and peaceful. There's birds that wheel overhead. It's gorgeous.
It really is. Like you said, it's just so calming even just standing here. And I should say, we are holding a cup of something, which is very, very lovely as well. What have we got in our hands here?
We have some lemon balm tea. So when the girls arrived, we went and picked some lemon balm and popped it in the pot and put some hot water over it. And it was as easy as that to make some tea.
Oh, well, over the course of the next hour, we're going to be talking about all things gardening related. So if you've got any quick questions that you'd like Tanya to answer, 166 177, or you can email studio@manxradio.com. But just tell us about the plots in here. How many are there?
Well, there's about 30 here, but we have space for a lot more members. So if you're thinking about starting an allotment this year, so it's lala@manx.net if you'd like to inquire.
And in terms of time commitment, how much do people need to invest to keep the allotment going?
I think when you're thinking as much about the time to invest into it, you're up here to enjoy it. You're going to want to be up here a lot. So for myself in the winter time, I come once a week. In the summertime, it's a lot more. Springtime, of course, you're getting things ready. But it's really a lifestyle rather than something that you have to set aside specific time for.
And do you think that people are born green-fingered, or is it something you can teach?
I think that people are taught that they're brown-fingered. I think that anyone can learn to grow. You just have to understand about plants and soil and what plants need to grow.
There must be a little bit of intuition to it, though, you know, sort of if you can just sort of tell things maybe are or aren't working too well. Because I just get that impression that you're a bit of a sort of wizard when it comes to this, Tanya.
It's just the interest. If you have interest in plants, then you will watch them, you'll be aware of them, and you'll learn from that and become a good gardener. If you're not aware and you don't have that interest, then of course you can be a brown-fingered person if you want.
Well, we are going to be learning plenty from Tanya this afternoon, and in fact we've both brought little projects that we're going to ask her advice on, haven't we, Beth?
We have, because I mean I would put myself as somebody who definitely was not green-fingered at all, but recently I was given a very lovely present by our Sarah Hendy here actually, and something's actually grown in a pot, and I'm so excited, but I'm not sure.
Was it what's supposed to be growing?
Yes, it was.
In the pot?
I think so.
Okay,
I think
checking.
so. But I wasn't quite sure what to do next, so I have brought it along for Tanya to have a look at. But it's just, I don't know. There's something so magic about planting something and it appearing.
Yeah, it really is, and especially when you start growing the likes of vegetables and not just vegetables but herbs. As you said, we started by just picking something and making a drink from it, but when it comes to the time of year where you've already been picking your purple sprouting broccoli, and when you can start looking at the potatoes and start digging up carrots and things, and then with it, there's just something wonderful about that, isn't there?
Well, that's what I think. If you can watch a seed turn into a plant, you can get hooked onto gardening. It is an amazing, magical thing to do and experience. And that's why I always say, get kids started early, get into schools, teach them about seeds, because you'll remember that for life. And whether or not you continue gardening as an adult or as a young adult, you will come back to it because it really gets you hooked.
And do you have any children up here on the allotment at the moment?
There are a couple of children up here. But I've also been speaking to someone on the island who has a children's program for gardening, so hopefully we'll be able to visit them in one of the future broadcasts.
Excellent. We'll find out more about that a little bit later, because she's actually talking about a friend of the show, Beth, so we can give that a bit of a shout out later too.
Now, you might remember on Late Lunch last week we had Aaron's Adventures, which involved him in a very, very fast car. I'm delighted that this week's adventure with Aaron involves allotments, because Aaron, you're quite fond of growing things.
Absolutely, yes. And this serene setting is a far cry from the passenger seat of a supercar.
And in fact, you were with us the last time we had Tanya with us on the show, and we were talking about the seed swap. And you then went to the Laxey seed swap. And what happened, Aaron?
I did. Well, it was a very interesting encounter in Laxey over that weekend. I was down at the shack getting a cup of coffee, and I was happily pooed on by a seagull on the Saturday and thought nothing of it. Of course, parents and grandparents were telling me, "Oh, this is lucky, make sure you buy a lottery ticket." And I said, well, I never buy a lottery ticket. But anyway, I came to the seed swap the next day and thought, oh, I'll buy a raffle ticket. The raffle ticket came through, and I ended up winning a pair of secateurs and some gardener's gloves, courtesy of the seed swap. So that was, very lucky.
And so you've been already pacing all around this allotment here. And what are you thinking? Do you think you might actually entertain the idea?
Well, it's funny. It's interesting. Tanya should mention at the start about if anyone's interested in a plot. I'm actually number 34, I think, on the waiting list for the Douglas allotment on Johnny Watson's Lane. And I know there's a couple of vacant spots here, so maybe I should reconsider.
Oh, there you go. You see, you've maybe got a new person up here, Tanya, already, so that's good. Yeah.
Oh, well,
Aaron started. The last time I was on the show, we were talking about aubergines, and a particular one that I'd started off. So this is an aubergine, so eggplant, mitoyo. There you go.
And you brought it especially for Aaron, because we talked about this particular species, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Yeah, we were actually talking about growing aubergines. I think is it your first year starting them from seed?
Yes. Well, from last year's crop, I suppose. Yeah, and I've had no luck so far. Nothing sprouted.
Oh, well, yeah.
Thank you.
There's one to get you started. So that'll be for polytunnel or greenhouse growing, and that is a special heritage variety that I ordered from the States, actually.
Oh wow! Well, thank you very much. My granddad will be chuffed to see some more. Is it Solanaceae, as you say, that family?
That family,
yeah.
Yes.
Along with the tomatoes in the greenhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting, Aaron, talking about being on a waiting list for an allotment, because I know that is a situation around the island. Here, you said you've got 10 or so free spots. Is there a waiting list here?
There is no waiting list here. So if you want to start now, you just have to get in touch. And it's a really positive community of gardeners up here. It's a beautiful spot. There's parking. It's organic as well.
Do you have to live in a certain area of the island then?
No. I mean, obviously it's going to be a little bit more convenient if you live in Laxey or Lonan or Onken even, but we're not restricting anyone's locality as far as applying for a plot.
So there's plenty that we can go through this afternoon up here at the allotment. We should say that we are also broadcasting, I think, are we live, Ben, on Facebook? Yeah, we're live on Facebook, so you can actually see what we're talking about, and it is well worth looking at because this is so beautiful up here. And we'll be going through all the bits and bobs that are in the beds here and talking through what you should be looking at and thinking about at this time of year with whatever you're growing with Tanya. And of course, if you've got any questions, 166 177, or you can email studio.
And we are going this afternoon, so any suggestions would be more than welcome. If it's a band name or a song name, just get in touch, 166 177, and you will go into our late lunch list, and you could win £25 with ShopRite on Thursday. Before we go on, do you know this Morajaduni challenge this week has been really bugging me?
Oh yes, so we got set the new challenge, the MJ challenge as we're calling it. We were set that on Sunday by Clarky and Phil. Well, actually it was just Clarky this week, and I think he's found it quite entertaining, the challenge this week, Beth. He's very much enjoying the fact that he's challenging you essentially to speak with a Manx accent, isn't he?
Yeah. So what I did, and we will hear it again in a moment, but what I did was I wrote practice here, but I've left the piece of paper back at the office.
Well, maybe if we hear it and then you can just see how much you can recount.
Okay, well, let's hear it now then.